forgot to ask you how your first day was.
It wasn't bad. Really good. I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, good. Okay. Welcome in. Is this Noelle? Where are you from?
She's in the Decula area.
Oh, hello. We had Echo right next to you. So.
Yeah, we're just seeing who's all gonna stop by today. Welcome in, Naomi.
Her audio still connecting.
Oh, yeah, I see it. All right, welcome in, everybody. Samantha, Maya, Martina.
Welcome, everyone.
All right. Well, it's 6:01, and this is being recorded. So I think we can go ahead and get it started. Mr. Emerson, you ready?
I'm ready. You guys ready?
All right. Well, welcome in, everybody. Hope your day's starting off well. Hope you had a good day. We're getting towards the end of the day now. I'm going to start off with introducing you to Emerson, and I'm going to read his bio, and we can go ahead and get started with some questions and feedback and discussions. Emerson Cunningham is a seasoned training consultant with over 28 years of experience specializing in helping business units optimize their workforce strengths and knowledge. Throughout his career, Emerson has delivered more than 30,000 hours of training to over 12,000 employees, collaborating closely with business consultants, subject matter experts, and facilitators to ensure successful project outcomes. Emerson's expertise lies in training professionals on leveraging technology to improve operational efficiency and customer experiences. He is particularly skilled in minimizing the anxiety of adult learners.
Stop right there, Michael. That's enough.
What?
That's enough.
Okay, that's it. You want me to talk about Georgia Power and Oracle systems, customer service, all that good stuff?
Yeah, all that, yeah.
Driven by passion and knowledge and all that stuff? Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
That was Emerson, y'all.
I was starting to feel a little weird.
Hey, it was more too. I
Right.
just, I couldn't even get all of it in. So much talent.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
All right. Well, thanks, Emerson, for joining us today. We're looking forward to getting this started. Team, I guess, audience, we will be discussing 4 topics today, and we'll go over some questions and get Emerson's expertise on it. For those 4 topics, it's going to be practical strategies for building a successful freelance career in corporate and technical training. We'll also be talking about insights into industry trends and demands in both the tech and corporate sectors, actionable steps for marketing yourself as a freelance trainer or coach, and also real-world examples of how to navigate client relationships, contracts, and opportunities in freelance training. Let's dive into some questions, Emerson. First question on top of the list here. Can you describe the initial steps you took to build your freelance career in corporate and technical training?
Yeah, great question, Michael. Thank you guys for having me. And I'm glad to share my experience. I've been in corporate America for nearly 40 years. And most of that was spent with one company. I've worked with Southern Company, which is a utility company down in Atlanta, the Atlanta area, and covers about 4 states. So I really just started as an unexperienced, uneducated, or barely educated employee working in the power plants and just cleaning up things. I was really a janitor, but I was focused on doing better. And the way I was going to do that, it took me a few years to discover that process. But my dad always told me, whatever you do, do your best at it. And so I kind of used that as I went up the structure in the company. And I moved from, like a hands-on craftsman into some field work. I really got to fully understand what I was doing and became really good at it. And then I went into an office, not as a professional yet, but as an entry-level employee in customer care, which is a normal place where a lot of people start their careers, is in customer care. But I looked at it a little bit differently than most. I said that to myself, I was going to become the best that ever did it. And I learned every intricate detail of it. I read everything about the company and everything about what they did. And I was able to successfully answer questions, moved up to a business consultant, which was a salaried position helping customer or companies become efficient at using their utilities and being, very, profitable in the industry. So that's kind of how I got my start. And I was invited to apply for a training position, which took a lot of native knowledge from the company itself. So I got my college education at the company, if you could use those words, and applied it in the classroom. And I had a great desire, still do, to help adult learners be the best at what they could be on the job. And now, since then, I've moved into IT, helping a lot of people learn software so that they can be productive and successful in their careers. So it was just a kind of a progression, slow progression, learning what I could, being the best at it, working with others, asking for help, and then applying it over and over again until I nearly perfected it. I won't ever say that I perfected anything, but I've got it down pretty good now. And training adults is my thing.
Awesome. Good stuff. So would you say continuous learning, especially in the development and training world, like continuous learning, like researching, just being that subject matter expert?
Right.
That's very important, especially when you're going to be training people. You got to keep up with the trends. You got to keep up with research. And what are good ways to kind of keep that, I guess, that good energy of where you're gathering information and just staying on top of things so you can be that subject matter expert and you can be that, that perfect, almost perfect trainer, coach out there in the world?
Yes, great question. I think like industry organizations, company events where information is being dispensed, talking to your peers, going to conferences. And sometimes that means going to conferences that you pay for, maybe that the company won't. Maybe the company doesn't see you in the capacity you can see yourself. And so they won't sponsor you in a conference. And so that might be something like you have to invest in for yourself. taking all of the certifications that you can, especially the ones that the company will pay for, and showing them that you're going to use that certification, and kind of keeping yourself like a little portfolio of the work that you've completed with those certifications, so that they will continue to sponsor you. Look into your company's education policy, take advantage of that, and do the best you can with improving yourself in all of these areas. I would suggest that's what's helped me.
Got you. That kind of changes the mindset, like from a corporate person to actual freelance. And like you said, sometimes you got to pay for it. You got to believe in yourself and pay for those certifications, and gather that information. Like you're saying, that subject matter expert, you're pulling from those corporations. You have this knowledge now. Now you can go and set your own thing up. You know what I'm saying? So you may have to go and pay for some certifications if you believe in what you got going on.
Yes. And I had to do that too. I started a small consulting company on the side, and it's still small because I still work. But I will continue to grow it, especially toward retirement in the next 10 years. And so, you take the knowledge that you can give for free, you leverage it into your freelance, right? And then now you become your own corporation, your own LLC, your own sole proprietorship. And you're building that reputation as you go while you're working, because those are going to be the lean years, when you start your company. As a freelancer, it may take you a year or two to get your first contract, especially one that pays well. And then by the time that you're ready to make that switch from corporate America over into your own freelance contracting business, it will be a smooth transition.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And you may have to volunteer at some places,
Exactly.
get that experience and that, the feeling of doing that, might help a friend out or something. That goes into our next question too. How important is it to specialize in a niche area when freelancing in this field, and how do you choose your specialty?
Good question. What I had to remember is I thought I started out wanting to do everything, right? ERP, enterprise resource planning, change management, and all of those things. And I thought you have to know a little bit, at least, about all of those things, or be good at most of them. And the converse is true. When you really think about it, there's so many areas that you could specialize in, especially if you want to be a contractor, that are out there for all of us to get into. Maybe you're an artisan, right? You do a particular type of graphical work, but guess what? There's probably 20 types of graphical work that you can get into. Maybe you are a change management person, but there's several layers and different types in different industries that you can be a change management professional in. Who knows? There's a plethora of things that you can get into. My request for you is to specialize in a couple, no more than a couple or three areas, because to be the best in any area, you almost have to specialize in that one area, because millions of people are doing that thing, And how are you going to climb to the top and be the best in several areas? That's almost impossible. In fact, for me, when you say training, there's several types of training. I mean, you can train adults, you can train kids, you can train special needs, you can train all of these different areas. But the area of choice of training that I chose was training adults, and especially in training adults that have difficulty with just sitting in class, or even like craftspeople that work in the field mostly, and they're not an office type person. Those are my people. I know my people, right? Know your people. Those are the three words I would have for you to know. Know your people, work toward their needs, perfect your craft with that group, and then you'll be known for that specialty.
Awesome. Yep. Learning how to pick that target audience.
Yes.
You get used to, doing what you do. Good stuff. That kind of goes into the next question with let's say you said most of the people like reach out to their corporations, like say they work for a corporate
Mhm.
company, and they have those resources, like
They do.
development, all those type of things. So for those people that don't, and those people that work at corporate and still want more information, what
Mhm.
resources, online platforms, networks, or certifications have
Yeah.
been most helpful in establishing your freelance career?
We didn't have it back in my day, but we had, and that's, LinkedIn, things like that. Online groups. What we had were meeting groups like Toastmasters,
Yeah.
networks of engineers, network of training instructors, and we would physically meet, from time to time. And then we'd have those galas that you could go to. They do their fundraisers. We would go to all of those things and talk to our people and then get that contact information. And when you have an issue or you want to learn more, you would just have that network of people to reach out to, email, contact by phone. But now it's much easier, right? You can join LinkedIn or Facebook and get on a network of any type of specialty, any type of skill or freelancing opportunity has a network of people that you can join and just ask those open questions, and people almost immediately would give you the knowledge you need to be successful in any situation. So please take advantage of those, and it's usually free. So those are great, things, resources to take advantage of.
Awesome. It perfectly lines up with this next question. How do you manage and grow your freelance training? Kind of on the same level of
Mhm.
that world of the LinkedIn. Like
Yeah,
how do you grow your freelance training business and this competitive market that we're in?
it's that one word that we're all very familiar with, right? It's networking. Networking. And Michael, let's kind of take a side note here. You and I are both like really extroverted people.
Yeah.
That's not true with everyone, especially a lot of artistic people are not, kind of like extroverted. They're extroverted toward their work, but when it comes to other people, they're kind of quiet. And so let's talk about a way that, no matter what your personality type is, let's think about what we're doing and kind of focus on that. I see a question, so maybe Rachel, you could kind of prepare it for us, and we'll grab it after this comment. Um, so if you are not a super outgoing person, and we say network, network, because that's so important, then you've got to think about what outcome do you want for your business, right? You just really have to say, is networking worth me overcoming my shyness or my introvertedness for this moment, for this purpose? And usually the answer is yes. And then if it's not, maybe emailing could help you without having those face-to-face conversations. And I'm not introverted, so I don't know what that's like, and I'm not here to judge. But I know that you need the information to be able to grow and overcome obstacles. So you have to communicate. And so maybe the right word is communicate instead of network, but I will always use that network. Maybe you would too, Michael, as an extroverted person. But get the information, no matter how you do it, so that you can be successful. And networking usually works to do that.
Yep. And I will add on to that, like the Mentors of Color space was created for those people. So
Yes.
it's like the people you're talking to, they're here to help. We're here to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
to uplift each other. We have the Slack channel, all those different ways of communicating. So, and we also have those networking events. It creates that group of where people can come together and talk, and they're not feeling nervous just going out to some random networking
Right.
area. So we try to create that atmosphere. So you're all in the right area for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mentors of Color, for this opportunity. But networking is as old as people themselves. And for those who choose to take advantage of it, you will probably fly straight over most of the people that are trying to do the very same thing you were trying to do, because you are taking advantage of the knowledge of others who probably have already done what you're trying to do.
Exactly. We got a question here.
Okay.
Let me make sure I'm saying your name right. Maisha or Misha?
It's Misha.
Got it the second time. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're
Sure,
welcome.
Misha.
Misha, she said, what would you recommend for someone that is in education wanting to share their experience as a freelance trainer?
Oh, that's perfect, Misha. So if you're in, let's say, formal education, it's a K through 12 or college, there are many opportunities available to you. And usually, like in court, if you want to go, Misha, keep your mic on for a moment. Talk to me, please. Do you want to become a corporation or LLC training instructor, or do you want to get into corporate training from the world of education?
So I'll share in transparency. This is a question for a friend of mine that's looking to pivot, and
Mm-hmm.
she's not able to attend. She's got family things going on, but
Okay.
she's currently in the classroom, has been for over 14 years, and
Right.
just looking for a way to transition out of that.
Okay.
She's at the infancy stage, doesn't know what type of business model it would be. Just looking for different ways to use that experience of being in that space to ultimately have a opportunity of additional freedom in the future.
Okay. Now, what's really important for her to know, and I'll make my information available if she wants to connect so that I can help her go forward in her career.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really important for her to know is what group she wants to train. Does she want to do pedagogy, which is children, or does she want to do andragogy, which is adults? Does she want to be a part of corporate America? Does she want to be, like a private training instructor? So there's many areas for her to get into, and she really needs a plan. Like, think
Mm-hmm.
through these items so that you can set yourself up to be successful in the area of your specialty that you want to go into. And Michael, please make sure that she can reach out to us, in any way that she needs to, and I'll be more than happy to help her.
I appreciate that. My profession, I run a nonprofit organization that's focused on youth advocacy, but we also create professional development opportunities for educators, school counselors, and school resource officers. So I often will hire speakers from all over the country to come and address a large group. She knows for sure she doesn't want to talk in a classroom setting or like a lecture format.
Okay.
So maybe what you're talking about as a private trainer or even in a more corporate setting.
Yes. And these days, number one, if I were transitioning from a classroom or some kind of, like large corporation where you're doing in-person training all the time, and we're getting ready to talk about this anyway, but I'll just go ahead and kind of mention it here. Get her certification for virtual instructor-led training. A lot of companies want to hire you these days to do training, but they don't want you to show up on their premises because their people are virtual, right? So there's a lot of different software out there that you can get certified on, but there's another company that I'll resource for her and show her how she can get her virtual instructor-led training certification to put in front of or in back of her name when she's presenting herself to an organization to show that she's flexible. She can do it online. She can do it in person if needed. Excuse me. And that's what they're going to want to see, number one, these days, because they might want to record it. They might want to resell it to other parts of their organization or reuse it. And we'll talk about that in contracting in just a minute. What's the value of your teach? So there's a lot to it, and you just got to set yourself up for it.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question. Another good one here that I kind of tapped into here is while she's doing that, she can also create courses. So you can really make some good money on e-learning courses and stuff. Like if you have a talent or a gift or some type of something other people want to learn, she can kind of create her own course and get it on some type of platform, and she'll be able to do well with training that way too. For someone that doesn't want to be out in the front, she can be in the background making those courses and recording them live, and being able to do it that way. Selling for organizations too.
Yeah, I like your setup, Michael. Agile management for Scrum Masters. You took the time, you developed your courses. It's got several different components to it and chapters, and you did it the right way the first time, and so now people can attend it, get certified in it, and you don't have to teach it over and over and over. You're not teaching every night. They're taking the classes, and you're benefiting from that as you go forward. So there's so many facets to training, especially with the invent of online training, that you can be successful in many different ways.
Yep, exactly. All right. What question we got here next for you? How has the rise of digital transformation and remote learning impacted freelance trainers? Right along what you were saying with the new virtual world that we have here now.
Yeah, great question again. Master your software. I would say that. Y'all know there's thousands or millions of pieces of software out there. And my specialty has been software as a service. And so if you've ever been a customer representative for like a utility company or a communications company, and you go in, you log in, and you are into their software program, that's what we call a SaaS program, software as a service. And so if you're going to teach that, then learn it very well, okay? Make sure that you have your curriculum spot on. Practice your curriculum. Make sure that your agenda is perfect for the scenario, for all of the stakeholders that are coming into your platform and want success for their people, for their organization. The hard work is done up front with training.
Yeah.
By the time you get to a classroom, that's the end of the road. You're only there for a few hours. You're doing all the work up front, but you're laying it out for your audience. You're getting their good cooperation and participation. That's the adult learning theory. In adult learning theory, you have the lecturing, you have somebody reading, and then you have what we call kinesthetic, right? Getting them to do the work hands-on so that they can, and most of us are learners that are that way. We want to do it so that we can feel and understand it. So you have to set all of that up in advance, and knowing your software, having everything practiced will make you successful. And the digital transformation is doing it online. That's a little bit harder, right? But you don't have to travel to Chicago every week or Dallas or to New York. That saves you money too. And some people do like travel. I like traveling to work as long as somebody else is paying. But when you're a corporation all of your own, you're the one paying for travel and hotel. So think about all of those things. Use digital as much as you can to keep profitable. And those are two different pricing points as well. So we want to keep that in mind.
Awesome. Good one. Going right into the next one. What emerging technologies, AI, VR, etc., do you see becoming critical for future freelance trainers to master as they're going on their journey of being freelancer?
Well, AI is the hottest thing in IT right now.
Yeah.
And it's transforming a lot of what we do. But I get calls almost every week, at least people reaching out to me every week on LinkedIn saying, would you like to help us sharpen our AI database? Maybe some of you have gotten that too. And that's where they're kind of like tweaking AI through a qualitative process when you ask that question of AI so that it'll come back correctly. So we know that that's really trending right now. Another area that's trending is content development. So if you take everything that we said before now, teaching in a virtual space is happening and it's happening big time. All of you, look, we're on Zoom tonight, right? Michael and I had to go over this. We had to practice it. We had to create our content. So if you were doing this for a company, just as I mentioned earlier, content development with, some kind of a presentation, information, practicing a database is something that's trending right now. Social media, content development is always going to be trending now. Now, people ask me, why would I say that about social media and that it's not just a fad? Well, I started in social media as a social media consultant back in 2014. So that was 10 years ago. And it was just now really taking off to where we can get stats, insight, analysis, and all that stuff. Imagine it's 10 times bigger now, but it's still going up, up, up. Because why? We can tell what trends are happening in life from the things that people do in social media. They are quickly taking that information, all of your literals, all your verbatims, all your pictures, they're listening on your phone, and they know exactly how to market to you. How many of you are picking up, can't wait to get to the newsstand in the morning and pick up the newspaper and read it to see what's going on? Zero, right? All of that media, magazine advertisement, newspaper advertisement has changed over into social media. So they need people in that space that are experts at grabbing that information, downloading the analysis of it, and turning it into profitable content. Another area, there's two more I want to talk about, is fintech. How many of you walk around with piles of cash in your wallet or your pocketbook anymore? Not many, right? I go around for weeks or months without cash in my wallet. So how does that relate to fintech? Well, financial technology is what that's all about. Credit cards, debit cards, moving money left and right, Cash App, all of those things are areas where you can become very knowledgeable, and you may already be in one of those areas, and then turn that into a profitable, that information into a profitable corporation or freelance. Just understanding that, knowing how to maximize that information into profitable scenarios of teaching, and then you can move forward in that area. And then finally, health tech. You see what Apple's doing with the Apple Watch. All of those is capturing all of your heart information, your breathing, all of those things. That information is being sold, because when the minute you log on and say, yep, I accept, before you read it all that information is being sold to many different areas, managing that information, moving that information, and then being able to explain how to profit from that information is being done too. So let's go back. AI, content development, social media, fintech, health tech, you can be very profitable in any of those categories.
Thanks for sharing that, Emerson.
You're welcome.
Next one we got here. How do you balance promoting yourself, your services, with delivering high quality training and maintaining client relationships?
Well, you just have to, number one, know what your end is, right? So you're getting into this business of yours because you want to have more personal control over your life. You don't want to work 6 to 6 or 6 to 9 every day. So you have the opportunity to manage that. When you're freelance, while you're working, let's talk about making that transition again. You're going to have to work more than 8, 9, 10 hours a day. And so what's your limit? Is money the only thing that you're chasing? Do you want to balance your life while you're chasing success? You are the only person that can answer that question, because you're the only person that will be affected. And what you have to do is balance the quality of the work that you produce with the amount of money and time that you invest or that you will want to make as you do your business. So think about those things, because you can burn yourself out. I mean, I found myself up in the middle of the night, writing business plans, kind of deciding how I want to present something, and being too sleepy to actually be effective at my job the next day. So you have to make that decision and balance those things on an ongoing basis. I tell you what's another good strategy for that is get a buddy, somebody that's going to be honest with you. And as they watch you in your journey, like a mentor, to say, hey, you're doing too much right now, you need to pull back. And most of us who are really driven don't believe in pulling back, but you need somebody that can look at you from the outside and say you need to balance a little better.
Awesome. So we got another question. Jasmine, how do you manage burnout?
When you're burning out, Jasmine, when you're passing out on, in your seat at work every day. And it usually happens for me after lunch. If I'm burning out, I'm like ready to go home at 1 o'clock. And so again, pull back a little bit on your freelance part of your work evening, usually your work weekend. I'll go outside, and I'm an outside person. I ride motorcycles, I go camping. I do those things to completely forget about what I do. And I use this like kind of old Asian kind of perspective. And that is when you ask somebody, you know how in America we meet somebody and we go, hey, my name is Emerson, what's your name? And then to carry the conversation, our next question is what, Michael? And what do you do?
Yeah.
Well, the Asian perspective of that is, and who are you? Instead of what do you do, who are you? So I kind of switched to that. And it's a more natural process of getting to know people, not connected to their work, but just to regenerate that human side of connection for me. And I think about things like that, just what's most important, it's life, living, people. Yeah.
I like that. Finding out ways to tap into
Cool.
the person versus like what do you do for a living? But I
True.
will say,
What?
if somebody came to me and said, "Who am I?" I will look at them like,
Yeah.
that business, not this one.
Right. Yeah.
But
Who are you? Who's your family? Who are you? What do you,
who are
not
you?
what?
You know, ask if getting personal now. No.
Yeah. And that's the purpose of it. But you don't even have the answer, do you, Michael?
Yeah, I'm like, no, not for you, honestly.
Yeah. Somebody asks you, who are you? You'd be like, I just told you my name.
Yeah, that's something. Hey, that's something to get used to. But yeah, I like how the different way of tapping in and
That's
networking.
right.
That's real good. And to go back on the question of the alleviating that burnout, and also like we were saying, how do you establish that balance? Is really
Right.
me, it was the setup up front is very important. Like how
Right.
that the foundation that you lay, well, it'll help out with that the long run. Like you won't have to
Right.
work hours if you set up your projects correctly. You get
I
your
like
Google
that.
Calendar, your project manager software, bring
Mhm.
in the right people as you come along. It gets better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just know in your head as you become a freelancer or own your own business, that beginning stage, just already know in your mind that it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be some late nights, but just know
Right.
up ahead, it's going to get better.
I like that, Michael. You have to do those things because you can't do it all. Do you know a Fortune 500 company or a Fortune 2000 company where there's only one person working in the company? It doesn't exist, right? So if you want to grow, what does that mean? Naturally, organically, you have to bring in other people. Even if you know how to do everything, you can't do it all.
Yeah.
Not if you want to grow. So know when to bring those people on and say, okay, now I've looked at the numbers. I've determined that even though I can do it, I need to hire you. And this is what it's worth to me. And hopefully you're the right person for it. And then there you go. You're the leader now. You're the manager of HR and you're doing all the HR things to bring in the right people, find the right talent to grow your business. So you're going to have to manage those skills, add those skills as you grow.
Yeah. And you were right about the just taking some time for yourself.
Yeah.
You really have to be intentional on put it on, like me, I have it on my calendar. Take a walk, go. I like to golf. I'm going golfing every Wednesday. Like something you have to make it a point to
Right.
put something on your calendar to make like sure you're working out, you're doing something for you, to take you away. You always need something to take you away from the job. I think we have another question. How did you get your first client as a freelancer?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. And this is one of the best things that ever happened to me. I was networking. I was working. Let me give you the whole scenario so you guys can kind of translate it to your situation. I was working as a social media consultant. I was up in Ohio working on a special contract for this employer that I'd met through Georgia Power, and we grew a relationship. We went up there as a social media consultant for another company, and what I was doing was I was bringing industry people in from all over the country to show them my setup. That's what my employer wanted me to do, and I would explain how things worked, what software we picked. We went through the RFI, the RFP process, had statements of work. I was giving them all the details. And this one young lady who was a vice president of a bank kind of formulated a very good relationship with her, just kind of professionally. And one day I'm sitting on the couch, me and my wife, and we were just, going over some things. And I was like, man, it really would be nice if, we had some, extra cash to do this, that, or the other. And one day, and I still had my consulting business up and running. Hadn't had my first contract yet, but I was advertising it on social media very heavily at that time. She picked up the phone, called me, and said, "Hey, Emerson, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, good to hear from you." She said, "You still doing consulting work?" I said, "Yeah, I sure am." I'd had 20 customers already. So speak about your business in a very positive way, first of all. And she said, "I need some work done." And she explained to me what the work was that she needed me to do. And I looked at my wife, and we kind of said, "Okay, no problem. We'll continue. We'll send you what was it called? Uh, NDA." Yeah, thank you. There she is, still supporting me. So we sent her an NDA. She signed the NDA right away, sent it back to us, and then we broke it down. I said, "I'm going to need this many thousands of dollars just to look at it, and this many thousands of dollars just to complete the work that you're asking me to do." I thought she was going to flip over backwards with those numbers. She said, "Okay, no problem. I'll go ahead and get the first check out to you. And then after that, we'll reconvene, and then we'll, finish it up when you go through the work, and we'll pay you your second installment." I said, okay, great." Man, I'm telling you, that changed a lot of things. So you never know where it's going to come from, but you market yourself like you're the biggest dog in the pond. You talk about your business. You go on social media. You give people tiny, bite-sized, kind of introductions to those things that they'll need, and you invite them to do business with you. Don't hesitate. Don't be afraid. Move forward like you're the biggest business person that ever did it. So you have to do that. Otherwise, people don't have confidence in the product or service that you're trying to sell.
Exactly. That confidence is very important, and the way you display yourself.
That's right.
Like you're going to events, you're going to networking events, you need to just show what you're doing. Really, it's show and tell for the outsider, because it's not the same as it used to be where everybody's out. Now it's like everybody's watching social media. Businesses they're looking at your LinkedIn, they're checking you out.
Oh boy, yeah.
This person. So make sure you're showing and telling all the great things you're doing. Speaking
Speaking of that, Michael, your LinkedIn is perfect. And if you guys want to see a great example of a freelancer's LinkedIn, look at Michael's, because his businesses are tied into his LinkedIn. And I'm still trying to copy some of your examples, Michael. But that's a great example. If you want a good takeaway to advertise your business along with your, corporate work, look at Michael's LinkedIn, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm keeping it kind of open for corporate to let them know, hey, I'm doing something on the side. So they know I have my own thing. Plus, I'm bringing great value to them as well. So
That's right.
balance is good. Work-life balance. All right. Some good information, Emerson. I want to get into some real world examples, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Can you share a story about a challenging client relationship and how you successfully navigated it?
Ooh, yeah, hard stuff happens, and people want to quit when it gets hard. Uh, there was a situation, and I think it was that first client I had where I got to the point of where the employee that I was coaching almost like kind of didn't want to hear what I had to say. But and I didn't want to quit, but it was just kind of, nagging me somewhat. And I said, I know what I told this person, same thing all these times. And I'm like, maybe I need to go to his leader, and talk to her about. But then I thought, that's what she hired me to do. So what am I've got to change my approach to this situation. Um, and so I had to take some time, and I had to look at what will be my reward if I got through this, or when I got through this. So you have to change your mentality sometimes. Back up, get the advice. This is a great time to get the advice of your mentors and say, what would you do in this situation? And you have to know your worth, right? So if you didn't quote it right, you might just have to suffer through a loss, but save your reputation in the process. Never give up. My dad was born way back in, Jim Crow era, and he was never considered a man until, he moved up north. But one thing he taught me, never give up. And so if the success of your business is on the line, it gets difficult, it gets hard, you don't see a way out, take a breather, back up, ask for help, never give up. Move to the finish line every time.
I like that. Yep. Sometimes people don't want to ask for help,
That's right. Too proud.
Yeah. So that's why I'm glad we got a platform like this for those people. Don't forget, guys, use that Slack channel. If you need some help, throw it in there. You can pull one of us aside on there as a direct message, or you can just throw it in there and we can have people jump on and answer and help out at any moment. All right, that goes right into the next question, Emerson. How do you set boundaries and manage expectations with clients to ensure a positive work relationship?
Make them sign the NDA.
Immediately.
Make them sign the contract. Because being friends is great, right? It's nice to have professional friends, but when you're doing, work, your businesses are not friends. Your businesses are there to profit from each other. And so the way you make businesses become friends is you make the responsible business person in each of those businesses sign the NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and then sign the contract of work. And it's nothing personal. You heard people say it before, and you might have been offended by it. It's nothing personal. Don't take it personal. It's just the way that business is done. So don't leave yourself open, even if you're on a small artistic level of creating, let's say, logos for somebody. And they want to see a little preview right quick. Before the preview, sign the NDA, sign the contract, and we'll continue to be friends because you know what the boundaries are in that business relationship.
Exactly. Yep. Have those files, have a little area where you download those files and keep it organized as well.
Yep.
All right, next question. What should freelance trainers keep in mind when drafting contracts with clients?
Good question. How many hours, and you'll get better at this as you go, how many hours of work will you put into it before you can even present something for preview, right? That should be included in your cost. And you need to have that open conversation with your customer. We're talking now, I'm working now, and then it's going to take me some time to research what we just agreed to. That needs to be included. So don't give away things for free. Your knowledge is hard fought, to come by, and let them know that, I can give you a quote, but right after that, everything goes into your contract price. And so sometimes you don't have to talk about that. You can just give them a quote and they'll accept it. And you've already calculated that price into your contract price. But don't give yourself away, or the creative work that you've done. Don't give it away, because otherwise it's not going to be worth you being in business.
Yeah, know your value.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be hiring you for no reason. They need, you know what I'm saying? They need you. It's a service that's needed. So, you know,
They can't do it for themselves, right?
they always have a budget. So, and
That's
it's
right.
always a max budget
Yeah.
they have. So you just gotta be ready to start high and then come into the next question, negotiation. How do you handle that negotiation piece?
Yeah, I saw MOC had a question. How did I determine my prices?
Oh, yeah.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead and answer that one first.
My prices, I always kind of looked at, I would get quotes from other companies asking for the same kind of work that I did. And so it was super expensive. And I thought, man, that doesn't even almost seem fair. But then I thought, after 2 or 3 quotes, well, I guess that's what it's worth. So it's easy, really. Go out and get somebody to give you a quote. A company that's reputable, that has been doing it for a while, ask for exactly what you do for somebody else, ask 2 or 3 companies, and then you should compete from there. Probably a little lower than them, but to get in the business, it's worth getting some quotes from other professional companies.
Cool. Good one. I think the last question we had was the negotiation.
Are we going to have some more time, Michael, to let them ask questions too?
Yep. We just want to know about your negotiation style when they're going back and forth with you. How do you handle
it? Yeah. Well, I mean, be flexible enough to negotiate. I'll tell you, real business people who have a real business need are not so much in the business of going back and forth all the time. So I would start a little bit higher. Once you got that quote, I would kind of, hit it about 85 to 90% of what you've been getting quoted in the market. And then when they come to you and want a discount, set up a scenario where they can get a discount for more work, or additional, work in another manner at a different time, and make that a significant discount. But your initial prices you want to stick to. If they say they don't want more work, then you can always, you'll know what your cutoff is for a lower quote. Know what your cost is going in right away, and then as long as you're profitable coming out of that, and you can get a good referral from them, because a referral is worth money too. Then you'll know where your range is and how you can set that price, and be open to negotiation, but don't give your business away.
Exactly. Good words, Emerson. Appreciate you, Emerson, coming on here answering some questions. This was a good talk. We can open it up for questions if anybody had any questions or want any type of advice.
Yeah, great.
Team, while we're on here.
Where are you? I'd love to know where you guys are in your journey of moving into freelance, in any of your freelance organizations or journeys. Just getting started? Have you been doing it already? Just interested, learning tonight? Where are you? Okay.
Listening in and
just
gathering.
learning. Okay. Just interested in learning tonight. Great. Well, that is the first step, because great businesses are not built by themselves, everybody. I think the thing that kind of you have to be successful in this business is confidence. Now, how are you going to build your confidence? Is just by knowing. that great businesses are started by people just like you. You have an idea, you want to move it forward. You've been working maybe in an industry and you know you're good at what you do. You've got to think about, how do I parlay that into a sellable object, a sellable service, or a sellable, product. And that's the hardest part, I think, because most of us just go to work, do our 8 to 5, come home, and we think about, man, I can retire at 65, and that might be 40 years from now. And guess what? Most people only live until they're 69. So are you going to be that person that just takes the 4 years that you get, 4 to 7 years that you get after retirement to enjoy your life? I don't think anybody on this broadcast tonight is thinking that way. So make it happen. You're here because you know you've got something special. Make it happen. Ask around, get good advice, join Mentors of Color, and be successful. You never know. The thing that you start to do could earn you more money than you've ever dreamed of. So try it out.
Awesome. We got some good stuff in the chat as well.
What's going on in the chat? I didn't see it.
Martina, she's a service provider, marketing in the field for a few years and interested in training and courses, which that's right up my alley. So Martina, feel free to find me on the MLC directory and I can share my journey of how I got my courses, all that goes into it. Once you get done with it, it's a lot of groundwork, but once you get done, now you get to fall back and let it do itself. So it's a fun thing to start. Maya, currently do freelance work for creating WordPress websites. I'm stepping into a new venture of concert.
That's a big deal, especially in social media, Maya. So connect with some people that are social media content creators and specialists. Even in some of these big companies, they don't have a person who is a WordPress specialist. And you could easily find some work there in some of these Fortune 2000 companies.
Exactly. Awesome. All right. Where are we at? We got 4 minutes left. Do we any more questions? This was a good talk, Emerson. I appreciate you.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that you guys had me on. And again, if you want to reach out and make a connection, you have questions, Mike and Rachel can make my information available to you very easily. So thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the weekend. See you later.
Okay. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.